whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space, and Jeff Bezos, go, never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I host the only online conversation in the world for fathers and dads. It's sponsored by Dad Central and also Dove Men Care. And through that team, or with that team last year, we were able to reach out to over 100,000 fathers around the world last year. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live March 19th. Tomorrow is the first day of spring. So, you know, that's good. We've been getting rain all day in Toronto, so it's washing away the snow. It's just brown, but it's all right. As long as you don't have to shovel it, that's good. So that's all good here in Toronto. And as always, on most Saturday evenings, live, or even sometimes on replay, we do State of Things with Aisha and Jill. So let's bring up the real stars, Jill and Aisha.
Hola.
What's going on, family? What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Ooh, well, we're all hanging in there, I think. We're all on pins and needles, right, these days.
Good. How was tennis last week, Jill?
Fantastic. It was so nice out at Indian Wells. Just beautiful. It's a really great tournament because it's the one of the few that you can see the players warming up, like in their practice boxes, and you're literally like this far away from each other, like they are in front of you. So it's pretty amazing, and they'll talk to you, and you get so. I mean, I think that, and the event is just so. It's just a great event. There's Nobu is there, champagne drinks. I mean,
yes,
really
Jill and her hubby were toasting us in a picture during the week. They're living the good life, loving it.
Yeah, it was great. They have some really nice vendors and things like that. So I advise, it's a good tournament to go to. Lots of different, sections to see all of them playing. Of course, this was all a bunch of qualifying stuff going on, but some really great matches that came out of it.
So were people out in full force, no restrictions, etc.?
Some people kept their masks on still, for sure. And then walking around, sometimes people would have them off. We had ours off for the most part at different points. Sitting down inside, yes, we put it on just for a safety precaution. But yeah, I think that it was just pretty good. You had to have your vaccine. You had to have proof of vaccination to get in, which was the thing. You couldn't go if you weren't vaccinated. So that was a relief to the brain. You're kind of like, well, it's not foolproof, but it just eased my mind a little to let go and have that nice little tequila and champagne mix thing cocktail that they made that they kept on Tennis Paradise.
Are you finished? All right. Okay. With a hot looking guy drinking tequila.
True, but the one match, the Nadal one, that's the one he fought like nails to get back in because that's when I just was like, I think he's the GOAT because his brain is so strong. How are you going to be 3 down? How do you do that and come back? Like it was just crazy. And a real testament of somebody's mental capacity and then I read this thing. He was like, his belief is that you can always be 90 what is it? It's 100% that you'll lose if you just don't even try to give 150%. But there's still, it's still 90% you'll lose, even when you give 150. But at least you've got that 10 to work with, essentially. So it kind of made me think like, wow, work on 10% and just really kill it, slay. He slays. He just slays. I don't know what he's doing right now, though, but because we're all on.
Was he doing his usual sleeveless?
Yeah, but I don't know if you've noticed his ticks are back.
Yeah.
His hat thing. And to be honest with you, he does really well when he does his OCD stuff.
Well, we're leaving Aisha out of this. So
with
Aisha's
her Britney girl, you have to wait till May.
Well, yeah, they announced yesterday that they are extending her
May 18th
until May 19th. She was in court, I believe, either yesterday or Thursday, and pleaded not guilty.
Does she have to go to court in May, or they're just what
there's
does that
another
mean?
court? She has another court date in May where they're going to decide if they've concluded their investigation or not. I read that her Russian legal team are going to petition for house arrest at that particular hearing, but they expect that will be turned down.
Oh yeah.
And so that's
I have a feeling
the U.S. consul still hasn't been able to contact her, and the U.S. State Department is still trying to get to her, but for the most part,
I think they're the last people that Russia wants to see, any Americans, right?
Yeah, but they said that she was okay. She, of course, was the only thing that she complained about was the length of the bed. Yeah, because she's 6'9".
Yeah.
Well,
something tells me she's going to be there for a while.
Yeah. It's
terrible.
It's sad because the WNBA, she's going to be there when the WNBA season starts. It starts May 11th, I believe, and so she will be there. And the other thing too is that honestly, if they do release her, which will she want to play after that mental drain? She's like, homegirl.
And what will she be in physical condition too? We don't know what she's. God bless her. We don't know what how her kidneys.
But there was a small video. Anything. There was a short video clip online that showed her walking into the first hearing the other day.
But do you think that I know that she's a proud LGBT out person and she's proud of that, but do you think maybe like her girlfriends and everybody can chill on that here at the moment? Do they understand that maybe that even plays into more of their hatred towards the West, because it's an incredibly anti homophobic country? I mean, do you know what I mean? Or does it help to have the LGBT?
I don't think that they even know. I don't even think they know what to do at this point, whether or not to kind of downplay that because of her safety.
Yeah, it worries me.
Or to really go all out and bring attention to it so that they can get in. So it's one of those kinds of things. It's almost like a catch-22. The more vocal you are, the more her safety is in danger, right? And then if you don't, there's no news story about it, and the State Department won't get involved.
I would hope the FBI, it's sort of how they guide people when people have been abducted, how you humanize them to the abductor, or how maybe it's her mom and her dad, because she is a Black girl over there at the end of the day, before everything else. And if they give a shit, and if they're as cool as Russia says it's so damn cool and understanding of our plight, or was that propaganda, Russia? You'd let her ass out. Because, there's no, that's my feeling. That's my feeling. Yeah. But I just hope they don't show their asses because, Russia's, we'll talk about that later.
Well, one of the concerns I was reading from a journalist was that there were those two other journalists that are being held and that they might come up first to be released.
But they're not Black. You know, it's like
No,
we're a
they're not.
minority in this country, and how are
Yeah.
you going to like beat down somebody who already has had things, who started life on, you know, not even in the place to play on any basis at all, nothing. And I'm not trying to take away from the other people who are being held, but you can't. That's just not cool. She definitely has fought against the odds to be at her stature, overcoming great odds. And
Yeah.
the fact that they would dog her down like this, to me,
Yeah.
you know, only makes me think what I think about Russia. It solidifies it more. But
You
if
know,
I want to,
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry.
We'll,
know,
we'll get to thoughts on Russia in a little bit.
Yeah.
What I will well, the only thing I'll add to your great conversation, as always, ladies, is that I think her release is now less based on her sexual preference than what's going on in Ukraine.
I get it,
Yeah.
but they need to still be, you know, they need to
Yeah.
still
Because my
not
worry
throw
was that they
somebody
would put her
clearly
in a men's prison.
you
That was
know.
my worry, was because, you know, she's gone places where people do not believe that she's a woman, and people are very cruel about that. And Russia being Russia, my fear was that they were going to put her in a men's prison.
Yeah.
Well,
And that would have been just horrific for her.
well, I think what's going on in the Ukraine, which we're going to talk about next, has a growing impact on what's going to be her future. So let's get into Ukraine. Are things changing much? Russia seems to be more just tightening the noose, in my opinion, when it comes to Ukraine.
Well, here's the thing. I have news for America. We will be getting in this. Make no mistake. We will be getting in this.
In what capacity?
Militarily. And the reason I say that is because all he has to do is attack Poland. And our president already committed us to that. Should they come to a NATO country, we're in. And so right now they're like, what is it? 3 miles out from the Poland border. So Putin is determined to push this. He is determined to push it. And I think that he will push it, and there will be some kind of attack at the Poland border, And there we go.
Well, I think the United States is already indirect. They're already involved everything except military man-wise, because they're supplying the arms to the Ukraine, but they're being very hesitant. They don't want to do the no-fly zone thing.
Yeah, because Putin said that he would take that as a declaration of war. Had he not said that, I think we would have done so already, or at least had our people go in and train the Polish.
But do you actually think that your country is going to get involved combat-wise against the Russians?
Look at every time that we've been engaged in a world war. Okay, there had to be a vested interest in it for us. There had to be an attack on us in some form for us to get engaged. We were dead wrong for letting Hitler just sit and stew
as long as he did
in Europe. We only got involved when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
Okay? And you can't not, you're right. You can't not do anything.
4 or 5 years after Hitler started his nonsense. So yeah, basically the same thing with Vietnam. They never declared it a war. They actually considered it a conflict. So yeah, we are going to get in this. It'll just be later, but we are going to get in it. And I want people to now act like this is going to happen, because we are almost there. We are almost there.
Well, I think it's the beginning of World War III. So I don't really see where, how anybody can parse and mince meat in this, because these are key maneuvers that are happening. And we're definitely on a threshold because there's so many dynamics involved with all of the countries that are playing a part. I mean, how bad do you have to be for the Taliban to come out and tell you that they think you're trash? And they did that with Russia, like Putin, screw you. It's like you kind of already can see who's lining up with who. So you see India is already making its moves. You see South Africa is making its moves with whatever it's been saying. And frankly, everybody who made their move against America, we need to cut the spigot off like tomorrow. Off. Turn it off, because
we'll be like,
how are you going to
we're sending your money to Ukraine? How about that?
The only pretty remarkable thing that's going on, there's so many people with vested interests in here because, the EU, we're looking at something where Germany, I think, is giving, is it 700 million a day or 200 million a day to Russia? Now, today, I don't know if many people know, Greenpeace was out preventing Russian ships from going in to provide their oil to do the EU is importing.
Wow.
There were swimmers from Denmark and people and boating people, and everybody was out there. The Greenpeace badasses were out there making it known that they don't want this. And their philosophy now is that the EU should just fast forward very quickly and get rid of its dependency on fossil fuels. I mean, they were already headed that way. We know that climate change is an issue. So maybe just cut that off quickly. We'll find a way to, because I'm of the nature, I'm a mom. I don't believe in letting one bully in the sandbox. I'll go without. I will go without before some little nasty kid in there is going to be running the roost for me personally. But what is interesting with this whole cut going and moving really quickly into the whole fossil fuel and shifting, that's a big reset. That doesn't just come overnight, but let's be honest, they have never done anything of any note for climate change in all the 30 or 40 years that I've been hearing about it. Not of note. If Putin wants to play this game, then we need to try to figure out maybe that's the way to go. If nobody needs you, they don't need you. So anyway, that's what they were doing today with the Greenpeace people. And like I said, I think they're right about the reliance on the fossil fuels. Now, remember, there is a reason why Australia and that little funky alliance we just made a few months back that pissed off France, there's something that's placed there. I can't quite see what that is yet, but there is something. And last night I had a dream about Putin. I don't know if this means anything, but he was walking around.
Who do you dream about?
I had a dream about Putin. It was kind of a weird
all right.
dream. This was a weird dream. I just wanted
people to hear that.
The first half of my night was kind of very prophetic and weird. And I think Aisha's onto something that we all do have to, slap our boots, pull up our bootstraps and get a little tough on this. He was walking around with a chimpanzee and he was giving it sign language and he was freaking out. So I don't know what that meant. I wasn't watching anything with monkeys, by the way.
Why am I having deja vu hearing you say this? Like I've seen this before.
Yeah, he was. He was holding it like this and he was going like that, which was so weird. And he was just freaking out and he was by himself and he and that monkey. So that was kind of weird. I was like, a monkey on his back, a monkey on his shoulder. I don't know, so yeah, I didn't know what that was it. Make what
Cinema Canella is saying this is the beginning of World War III, sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what Jill was saying though about the fossil fuels is totally correct. If you don't if anyone doesn't know, I'm a communications director for a nonprofit that focuses on environmentalism, climate change, inequality and racial equality. And the research from Europe, across from Europe, a lot of there are a number of articles that I've shared on our Twitter page about Europe being in the best position to get off of their reliance on fossil fuels.
It's true.
So Germany really does need to step up in that regard.
Okay. All right. I was remiss because usually we start off by saying hello to everybody. So I'm going to pull it up now. Say Cinnamon Canela. Hello. Say tu no tourni. It will be a sad. Will it be a sad Saturday night? I don't know. Blue Rains. Blue Rains is saying hello. Jen Myers is saying hello. Jen, your name is going to come up in the next few minutes too. You always add positive value to the conversation, but you're added some more positive value. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but we're glad as always that you're here. So World War III.
I mean,
oh boy.
It's interesting because you see that, this is a very interesting, people have to understand, and I've had friends who are people of color like going, what do we need to know about this for? They didn't do anything for the Black people who were over there and all this stuff. And a lot of things, and we've even said, oh, those poor African kids, but how come nobody could find those African? Was that true? How do we verify this stuff? This is a new kind of technology and stuff that we're dealing with. We don't know. Nobody ever could verify them. There were like some really successful Black people with billions of dollars themselves trying to find those students and get them out. There was an organization that did get out many that I could confirm and can show you. But then there's the propaganda that's being made and created or paid for by Russia. You've got to look at how low and how far Putin has slipped. He's put his hand into the bag of tricks of Donnie Trump. He's like doing fucking freaking rallies. Next thing you know, he's going to be like doing the YMCA dance. I mean, it's like really kind of lame-o. Like, it's like, wow, you're kind of lame. And that was all I saw when I saw the rally. I was like, this dude is lame. I thought you had some kind of swagger, and you don't. You're using Donald Trump's bag of tricks. Plan.
Someone on the news called it a MAGA rally.
It was so shocking. It was like, no, exactly. I was like, is this where we're going? So be very like, and then they're begging to China, they're
okay, like, I'm glad, and it was in my mind. Where does China play in all of this?
Always straddling the fence. They are the ride or die, Thelma to the Louise.
Yep, they're
Gemini
trying to
and
both
Libra,
sides against the middle.
Gemini and Libra. Xi Jinping is a Gemini. Putin is a Libra. And the crazy thing about, sorry to bring in the zodiac signs, the Chinese guy has a moon in Leo, which if you ever know anybody with a moon in Leo, they only talk about themselves and they want to be flattered all the time. So that's an interesting thing. The only thing that's bad, like we know when I used to do business with Chinese companies, they had funny rules about what year things were going to be in. And that's they would bring in somebody who was a Chinese astrologist. If you had a staircase in a company where it ran straight towards the front of the door, if they wanted the building, they would move the staircase because they said money is going to run right out the door. They wouldn't buy that kind of, they used to bring in people like this, which was really wild. So anyway, Xi Jinping is a water snake. And in the water tiger, this is going to be a very emotional year, but with tears brings growth. And he won't do so well. This is the snake year is going to be tested. Basically, Putin is his drunk friend at the bar who got them in trouble and now is like, yo, can you help me out? And he's like going, oh my God, trying to be cool because his ego is Leo and I'm the king and I'm the moon and you pulled me down into some bullshit. That's what we're dealing with. But he's trying to play off with Biden about what they won't do. And the worst thing that he said, in my opinion, was that they were brought into this war, that it was America's fault. And so on that note, I'm just begging people, like, I'm going to get rid of my Apple phone. I know that I'm going to do everything in my power not to shop China. And I don't want it anymore as much as I can. I won't do it. I know Samsung created, I mean, we can't alleviate it all, but they need to know that we will go without just to make sure you freaking suffer, because they're already doing it to us with the wheat. In another month, in another year, next year, there will be people who will be starving across the world because of these two bitches.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. So don't tell me when you get all empathetic about Russia. He has made sure there's no wheat in countries with people of color where their diets are consisting of wheat. That is the one thing with bread, with whatever, because he's a bastard. He's a bastard. So my thing is, bring it. Bring it. Let's go. Let's do it.
And these new stories about Hunter Biden, whatever they are, I'm so confused at whatever it is.
That's weak. Doesn't that make you know they don't have
Russian propaganda? This is them creating this stuff, making sure that the right-wing media in the United States carries it, because it's Putin trying to taunt Biden into war.
Oh, they want to taunt a war here, because if they could get us all riled up, then our military will be dealing with it here, and we'll be able to deal with that. That's what they think. But you know what? It's like we all of us are going to be in on this. And I mean, like, if we can sit here and visually see what's happening in the Ukraine in this day and age, everybody needs to take heed on that, because your hometown could look like Mariupol and all these places just like that. And what's so wild is, we often look at pictures in black and white. Start looking at pictures of a war that's been colorized, just to get your head around the fact of like what it really, that it was just an everyday average day for some of those people. But if Russia was so secure, they wouldn't still be beaten and trying to sell Hunter Biden. And ain't nobody checking for Hunter Biden. We don't give a shit. We had to suffer through.
He doesn't work for the country like Ivanka and Jared did.
Clearly, none of us give a shit about people taking money for anything and stealing and robbing and whatever. You actually think we give a damn about Hunter Biden smoking crack? We don't. That's been proven. America is amoral on some of this stuff. So get your propaganda. You got to find better propaganda, baby.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Well, so what we got to do, and this is a good segue to what Russia is claiming now. Russia is accusing the West of Russophobia. So if people are going, what do you mean by that? Well, many years ago, we had Islamophobia. Now Russia is now claiming that people are anti-Russian, and for not a good reason. They're worried about people going to become anti-Russian.
Really? So when they decided to mess with our election or play games with in Atlanta and putting out information to get some of our African American, our Black people killed, they and all that anti-George Floyd stuff, you think we forgot? How about this? When y'all elect a Black leader, then we won't be Russophobic. When y'all even get a pancake box with a Black woman on it, I'll even accept that. But they can go somewhere. Where is Black representation in Russia? Where is it? Why do we care? They've been coming over here forever. We doing what? Stirring up stuff?
But there is justifiable, if this thing exists, there is justifiable response. They got a maniac over there with his hand on the trigger that could end the whole world.
Exactly.
Of course people are afraid of him and afraid of all the stuff that he's doing.
But I'm old enough to remember Khrushchev. He used to sell a lot of wolf tickets too. And so did Brezhnev. I grew up with that. I was trying to remember what the feeling of that was as a child, but obviously we just went on about our business. But the reality is, they've always been this way. How can you say Russophobic? Y'all have always shown your asses, Russia. You can't come to a party without leaving a big shit on the floor. It's like, really? It's like, it's like, that's the problem. You let folks in your house and then they freaking want to take over. It's just common sense. Don't nobody want that. But they're the capitalism the height of like you open the gate so they could get a little bit of the pie and they go crazy. It's never enough for them. It's like they never ever had a goddamn thing. And they act like fucking barbarians at the moment. You know?
But that's the whole
Sorry.
thing, though, right? That's the whole thing, though, right? Is that it's not people having a phobia is basically an irrational fear of something, right? That appears in the large context is irrational fear.
Exactly.
We do not have an irrational fear of Russia. Our concerns about Russia are based on decades, hell, centuries of pattern of behavior in their leadership, right?
Like, why did they send that spy back, the redhead? She got sent back. She should be serving time here.
Yeah.
The spy, in my opinion. And they shouldn't, sorry, but, you know, they shouldn't be holding positions in our government. None of them. None. Zero. The Cold War was like that. It was called cold. That's why it was called Cold War. It's a cold axe went on. But this whole thing, like, you got to prove to me that you love me, because after a while you do me wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that the whole group of people are, you know, to be cloaked in the same cloth of some of their evil brethren. But the reality is the way to do this is to maybe send all of them home back to Russia and let them deal with their emperor. Let them be frustrated enough to get rid of that situation. Because why do we have to take care of that?
But I hear what you're saying, Joe, but that would peril a lot of people from America and the West if that would be like tit for tat.
Well, it seems like that's where we're going in life.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still. So let me ask, and are Westerners allowed to still come out of Russia right now, or is it that a lockdown? I haven't heard that it's a lockdown, but
I don't think it's a lockdown.
I don't think it's a lockdown, but they're having difficulty, right?
I would think so.
I mean, I feel bad for them, but I don't think
that we're not helping you get out.
No.
So, but you know, here's
but I don't think oligarchs should be allowed to be running through our system.
Well, here's the thing too, is that I don't know who said it, that the Cold War was over, but apparently it's not.
After
apparently it's not.
They never wanted it, and they've only been faking the funk all these years, because basically after the one who gave it to, you know, they were after Gorbachev, which Putin hated him, and most of their leadership hated. You're dealing with a country that didn't have presidents; they had czars. So that's a very different ball game. We're not talking about, you know, a president where that means there's a structure of government or an ideology.
Election.
Right. They had czars with a T, and some spell it with a C. But that's what they had. And when they didn't like them, you know, and then they had groups like the Cossacks and the Bolsheviks. Their people are beautiful people. They're educated. They're super intelligent. The culture is rich, but their representation sucks. And for some reason, it always is this big show or this big drama in dealing with them. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm like Rodney King. Why can't everybody get along? Because it's so wonderful. But, you know, I have Black friends who went there recently on trips and were told that they should not leave their hotels. They went there to work. So that's not, without calling
again,
the white people to take them down.
I've never had any envision of going to that country.
Me either. It's not inviting us. You know, I don't see an ad in Inglewood promoting a flight out going over to Russia. You don't see that. We're not their audience. We never have been. And what's really frightening is we never will be, more than a pawn that they use when they try to appear that they're friendly. You know, right. I don't know. I don't get it. And I don't think that the whole people should pay for the suffering of others, but they have to tend their own lawn. You know, it's like, this ain't a block party where we got to keep coming and cleaning up after you, you know, because here's the thing, in war, there's always people that have to clean up after a war.
Yeah.
And we really need to think about that. Who do you want to be standing by when you're cleaning up dead bodies after a war?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only Americans I know about in Russia are the ones who do the 90 Day Fiance shows.
And they should be, they're a lot more lenient on them. They make Africans who come over on those 90 days. You have to look at how long that one African dude on that 90 Day Fiance had to wait to marry Angela. And then the Russians over in a second.
Yep.
That's where they made the mistake, the big mistake. And they also make people with their green cards who are African, they have to stay married longer. They have to file more frequently to keep their green cards up than people who are white when they come in here. Most people don't know that. You don't automatically get a 10-year stamp. Some people only give them a 3-year. And then if, let's say, the couple just normally fell out and got a divorce, they could still make hell for that couple because they are biased against Africans. And it's okay. I mean, my feelings are the Africans that voted to support Russia. It's like, I'm not feeling y'all right now either, because that's not cool. Because pretty soon you're not going to have any wheat, and we're going to be sending our peacekeepers and our people to yet again go over there and help you guys feed your people and get vaccinations or whatever. It's too much. And you trying to be in bed with Russia? No.
And please, and let's remember that Russia must not be any big walk in the park like Putin wants people to think it is, because in the 90s you had that trend of the Russian mail order brides coming over, marrying men that American women wouldn't marry. Okay,
and it's still, the internet is creating basically internet brides, the metaverse they're calling it, but they're still going to be immigration is still going to support white immigrants before the black ones, and that's what
we're going to take them in as refugees, and then the question then becomes, okay, take them in as refugees, that's fine and dandy, but what about your citizens that can't vote? People are going to be pissed about that. There are going to be a lot of people really angry about that.
Right. I mean, the really crazy part for me was when they said there were a bunch of Christians standing on the other side in Poland. So you have all these people who have just barely escaped with their lives. I saw somebody who had a goat that they came with that was injured. People had their pets, their children, whatever. And then on the sideline, there's the evangelical rapture weirdos. Check your Bible. Jesus loves you, and do people know how the Orthodox Christians, how many exist in Ukraine? Right. So if you really want to ask yourself, how does a communist country that when Putin grew up, they didn't go to church. So I don't know when he found Jesus in the middle of all this. Okay. Number freaking one. When did he get God and when did he get Jesus? Because he's older than me. And when we grew up, they don't allow certain religions anymore. I know the Jehovah's Witnesses are tortured and thrown in jail if they're caught practicing in Russia. So that's not someplace either that's anything that, wow, what else y'all got going on? So then you have that. And then you have these people standing on the side saying, have you found Jesus? And I think since 988, Ukrainians has anybody ever been to a Ukrainian wedding? It's absolutely beautiful. It's, it's almost like the Greek one. It's just Greek Orthodox. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it's hours long. It is not, and then you have, do you know Jesus? Your Jesus, I don't know how they maintained it coming across the border, because I might have beat the hell out of somebody standing there saying that to me, because clearly that's a personal thing and you've just come out of whatever you just were delivered from. Mm-hmm. And not everybody believes in America's Jesus, okay? And also they believe the evangelicals believe their Jesus is better than everybody else's
so,
Jesus.
so
To go back to, before you go to the comments, to go back to that other point Jill made, the other thing too is that, remember, we just turned away a boatload of Haitian refugees who were fleeing away from Haiti because there was literal gunfighting in the streets. Okay.
Right.
And they were fleeing for that reason, because they couldn't walk the streets. And so we do that. There are going to be we do this with the Ukrainian refugees. There's going to be a lot of backlash from the people of color who have been trying to get in this country, and the ones who support them. There will be.
Well, what's so interesting that you did make a point earlier with Putin and expressing his deferences to certain things. And if you really pay attention, his whole thing is about loyalty, because I've been saying, I think he was a betrayal happened. And I think that, and the only thing is, a betrayal can only come from somebody that's close to you, number one. And number two, I think that, we have loyalties. America might have the better head on its body in looking at this, because there is something incredibly emotional about this thing between China, Trump, and Putin. But I don't think it's not planned in a really weird way. And I don't think that the GOP traitors that we have in existence right now aren't trying to seize and stir it up too. Because I still believe we have traitors here, treasonous people communicating and just trying to stir more agita here in the next couple of weeks, because it would serve them better. Even, here's the thing. It looks like Trump is not going to be running again. But if this thing gets pulled off the way it could be, he could be again.
Putin would certainly help him.
And he would help him. And that's what all this still, I don't think that Trump is out of the mix.
No, he's not. Of course he's not.
This is all about, they started getting really super close.
He's still having conversations with Putin now. Yeah. Okay.
And all this is going on. Men in little black cars should just drive up and take him away, or whoever has the cell phone, because the reality is that that's what's happening. And, that's exactly what's happening, because we were really working. Merrick Garland, I keep saying that he didn't Jenga quickly enough.
Your boy.
He's not my boy. Because all of this, when you hear like Lindsey Graham and all these people now selling we need to do this and do that. The impeachment, this is what this was about, removing Trump from having access to certain key pieces of information. But you guys kept him in. So blood is on the whole Republican Party's hands, in my opinion. The ones who, and that goes for Liz Cheney too. She didn't do shit on that, because here we are now, and she can lick the floor all she wants about how much she's just mad because Trump and them dumped her. I'm not getting into her problems. She's not the one either. Johnny Late Freight. She had nowhere else to go. Her own party doesn't want her. So why should we? We don't really need her. She hasn't done shit.
Merrick Garland looks like the Crypt Keeper. He's basically where justice goes to die.
Wow.
Because
it's like he doesn't like the job
every time
anymore.
There's an opportunity for him to ensure that justice takes place. He's like Mitch McConnell of the DOJ.
He is
the Grim Reaper.
He is. He actually sabotages them, I think. I'm starting to think. And I think he's going to end up being a real womp womp like Mueller was.
Okay. Wow, folks. The mic dropping is happening at a furious place this evening. And of course, we can't go these days without Jill mentioning her boyfriend, Merrick. So, it is an episode without that.
No surprises there.
So just before we move on to our next conversation piece, are we going to see an increase of Russophobia, in your opinion? Yes or no in the West?
But it's not a thing. That's the whole thing.
They've got blonde women with big boobs, pretty good looking people. They're not going to do it. No,
Russophobia
they need to
doesn't
sit
exist.
down. I mean,
Okay.
really? There's like any man in America is like lining up to, we'll marry one of your women and get them
Okay.
away from that. Please don't even try it.
All right.
This is
Well,
America.
Well, speaking about This is America, another good segue, Jill, for our next conversation topic. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signs permitless concealed carry bill into law. Oh boy.
Aisha's got
So
this.
I have to thank Jen
Jen?
Myers for bringing this to my attention earlier this week. So basically, the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, has signed into law that people can conceal carry a weapon, a gun, without a permit. And what I wrote on Twitter was that Black people need to beware, because people are going to start shooting Black folks
Yeah.
in Ohio
Wow.
over nothing, because they can carry that weapon, conceal it, and not have to have a permit to do it. You want to see shootings go up? Oh, Ohio's going to have a New Haven, Connecticut style epidemic.
Yeah, it's unreal. I have no words for it. I'm actually speechless. Speechless.
But let's be clear. You know why he did this? Because he's probably, if I'm not mistaken, he's likely coming up for election soon. And his party was very upset with him for his take on COVID and how he handled the COVID situation in Ohio. So this to me seems like him trying to go back to the base and appeal to the base because he needs some votes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can shoot COVID out of the air. I don't know.
Jen Myers, is he running for governor again? Is he have an election coming up?
I don't know, but
he might. I mean,
when I see stories like this, and a lot of Americans think there's a war in the Ukraine. I think with things like this, it's in America.
Yeah. We kind of set the tone, it's like when a country looks like it's not under control either, that plays into the hands of our enemy as well. It's just crazy. Haberdashery here thrown together. We have a Christian woman who said that Jesus was in the closet and told her son that she needed to run for Attorney General, Secretary of State here in California. Now, this is where we are. We have a lot of Lulus everywhere now. It's just like they came out of the woodwork, and I don't even know. It's like Pandora's box has opened, and we're all just like going, stick it back in.
Well, it's like an old song by Kumo D. Wow, wow, West.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, West.
Yeah.
But so what was the rationale, Aisha? You know more about this story than myself and probably Joe. What was his rationale on passing this?
That's the whole thing. He doesn't really have one.
He didn't have one, yeah.
It was just like the bill came up and he decided he was going to sign it into law.
And you're right to play tough guy. I think you're
play tough guy. And like Jen Myers is saying, she believes he's running again.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, it's probably tough guy again because
remember, they were those Ohioan Republicans were at the State House.
Yeah.
Protesting the masks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they were mad at him.
And they were mad at him for making the mask mandate that he made for the state. And so this is his attempt at trying to get some of that base back.
That's crazy.
True.
In my opinion. That's just
but he's gonna have a lot of blood on his hands.
He don't care.
It's
because look, so basically
power.
If someone commits a crime like this, if someone kills someone
or a child, they could mistake somebody and
bundle charges, right? So they'll bundle charges. They'll bundle an assault, murder, shooting, whatever, with a gun charge. Now, if someone has a concealed weapon here in these cases, they won't be able to charge them with a gun charge.
Mm-mm.
So update from Jen. Just double check. He is definitely running.
Okay.
Then, yeah, that's that.
It's pathetic. It's a pathetic pitch to the right that is going to result in tragedy.
Yeah, there's no other way to say it. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's just horrific.
Like I said, Black Ohioans, please beware. Be
Oh, they could always move to Texas.
beware. Be careful. I would invite
That
you.
all, yeah.
I would invite you to my neck of the woods, but we still have an issue here.
I
Like,
think that we do. You know, we have some really interesting players in our sphere at the moment, and it's really important to ask ourselves why. We've got Madison Cawthorn, who's crazy as hell. We've got, you know, the Abbott, who's insane, who really many people in Texas can't stand. And I think he's actually DeSantis, the Satan.
By the way, did any of you see the clip of him? It must have been about 2 or 3 weeks ago that he was going to make a speech at some school, and the kids were wearing the mask, and he told them off.
Yeah, he did. I just told him off too. Yeah, I just told him off.
Yeah,
See,
I went, really?
Yeah.
That brings me to my Twitter post after I went to the doctor the other day. You know, was that if I have a mask on my body, why are you mad about it?
I know.
Minding one's business is free. A lot of the altercations, I had to say this, and I'm going to say it as plain as day. A lot of the altercations and situations that white people get into are because they do not mind their business.
Right.
Period. End of story.
Because when I saw that, I'm going, so demeaning.
I think that,
and I just thought it was so rude. I'm just really it was not necessary. It was not necessary.
Yeah, it wasn't. But all the actions of people like that are unnecessary. I mean, I was literally coming out the doctor's office and someone screamed at me, "You can take it off now." And I'm just like, don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Wow.
You know, I think that that's the other thing, like when we think of places like a Ukraine or what we're seeing up against these stupid little petty men, when you put them up against like a Zelensky, who I feel in my spirit that because I do feel that there's so many players, you know, like in this World War III scenario, and we should be very sober in our thinking about this. You know, if Saudi Arabia got involved and just some other dark moments, to hear about some little pansy freaking Mike DeWine and his little concealed guns, and then the Abbotts and the DeSantis, and how these people are really demonstrating, the Ukrainians are really demonstrating what democracy is. The craziest thing for us when we look at our abortion bills, the other horrible abortion bill that just went into effect in Idaho, where that now if a rapist rapes you and you're pregnant and you get an abortion, not only can he can't sue you, but his mom, his dad, his aunts, his uncles, and his relatives can sue you for $20,000 for aborting a baby that you were raped. I mean, we have some really talk about savage and barbarian belief systems going on, and we can't even squash that. I mean, we as citizens who want the right thing can't even fix it. We're sitting around here. So then you have Joe Biden, and I think he's great. We're fortunate that he's in office, but am I 100% happy? No, because it's like, bitch, this democracy, you know, you got to strike like a scorpion, or just lay in the cut and then come out and then take care of this. This is not, no one wants to feel like you're under the gun of anybody, you know, and that there's no help. So for me, Zelensky, there's some kind of a divine intervention going on at the moment, just for us to catch the hell up and get with the program, because this person would still blow the world up, no matter if we do or we don't go in after him.
Okay.
He's still going to try it.
All right. Well, let's move
In that
on.
monkey language he was saying the other night, the dream. Monkey sign language. His monkey ass.
Oh my god, the monkey. Oh my goodness. Wasn't there a song about Monkey About Me? Was George Michael had a song?
Yes,
I don't
he
know.
did have a song called Monkey. Yeah.
Do
There
you
you
love
go.
the monkey or do you love me?
There you
Monkey.
go.
I mean, boy, has time really changed, like from the era of some really innovative.
And that was written by Jimmy Jam and
musicians
Terry Lewis.
Absolutely.
Was
Artists
it?
that
Yes, it was. Written by Jimmy and Terry.
Oh, someone's having some audio. Oh, okay. I think we're
talk
okay
about
now.
innovators in the world, and then here we are with these men. You know,
Okay.
losing time.
Jill?
Jill.
Yeah, Jill, your microphone is rubbing against.
No.
Okay, that's better now.
Okay.
It was okay. So Jen Myers is saying people are so darn ridiculous with their comments. I agree with you, Aisha. I want to wear my mask. If I want to wear my mask, I am wearing my mask.
It's like, why are you so concerned with me? Be concerned about that brick wall you're about to walk into.
All right. Well, here's our final conversation point of the night. We're going fast and fierce today.
I know.
Supreme Court Judge nominee Ketanji Jackson Brown gets her hearings going underway this Monday. This should be interesting.
Expect all the racism. That's all I gotta say. Expect all the racism. Anticipate it. There are so many ways that they will drop their coded racism. Just be woke.
Remember how Russia, what they did to poor Michelle Obama and Barack? I mean, all these things, they were horrible, and they wonder why there's Russophobia. Watch what they do to this one. Although they're a little busy at the moment.
Yeah, but
they may not be able to. Bots have not been actually that active online at the moment.
Yeah,
they
but
say.
Remember, the bots haven't, because Putin shut down the he shut down their access. So hopefully the ones on that will chill a bit. But here's the thing. Here is the biggest problem that Ketanji Jackson Brown faces. She's going to be in a room full of mostly white men, that she has more intelligence, more experience, and something that is just, it's better than them. So what are they going to do? They're going to try and tame this little uppity negress, and that is how they're going to go about it. Believe me, Lindsey Graham already out here puffing his chest up, saying that he's not sure if she's qualified. And what was his name? Tucker Carlson. Who the fuck are you? You're not even on the committee talking about you need to see her LSAT scores.
I know.
Clearly, she went to Harvard Law School. So clearly her LSAT scores were stupendous.
But didn't they unanimously agree for her to have the post she has right now?
3 times.
But just because it's Supreme Court now, it's time to turn on her?
Yeah. You know why?
Okay.
Because this is a decision that Biden gets to make, right? This is Biden's choice. This is the Democrats' choice. And it's for the Supreme Court, and it's a lifetime position. She stands in the way of them totally making the Supreme Court a conservative bench piece.
Well,
and basically she's not changing the face of the court. Or
no, it's not changing, because
she's just replacing another.
Yeah,
Democrat.
the Republicans still have the numbers.
The problem is that it's going to harken back to more of a cultural war that we have between Dems and Republicans, and our cultural war is definitely the race issue. And also the fact that Biden had said he wanted to put a black woman in there. So we go back down that road. That's the biggest fear during all of this stuff simultaneously being played, which is why I keep saying that Putin is still in contact with the GOP party, and that this is all kind of heavily orchestrated, and that the alliances are in place for a world war situation and a takeover, a bigger coup this next time. Because if you can create more internal discourse here with even her, people are starting to get very afraid that people will turn on Biden and the Dems if they don't deliver something a little bit better, and reward the Republicans, thus playing directly into Putin's hand. And when that happens, everybody needs to pack up. And the crazy thing is, I used to always say, there's nowhere to go now. If you are a minority and all this stuff, just get ready for the genocide, because that's what will be happening.
Yeah, and the sad part,
because there's nowhere to go. They've locked down Europe. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere for you to pack your shit and go. This is strategic, all of it. People have to vote. Just vote Republicans out, for us to take a breather and clean the slate for a minute and go, okay, we got to figure out who's going to go and play in this team again. It's like, just kill the team, get rid of the team, and get rid of the whole Republican regime, because you can't trust any of them, not one.
Well, that's why they're putting out this story about Ketanji Jackson Brown being easy on pedophiles, when the truth is
they are so obsessed with pedophiles, when over half of these people have a pedophile that they grew up with in their own homes.
But the truth is that she was tougher on pedophiles than anyone else in that court, right? And so
the South is like,
well, remember, pedophiles is the thing that QAnon started, right?
Well, yeah, but isn't that how they had look at them? They all start to look the same.
But no, the Pizzagate was the thing that got the QAnon started. So
yeah, but that's because people don't want to look in their own homes.
Yeah, but they've gone back to this, and it's like, basically what the Republicans are going to do on this is hit all the talking points, all the sensitivities of their base on her. You know what I mean? So they're actually going to make it seem like, oh, if this changes, it's because there's a Black woman on the court. They're going to drag out all the racist tropes. They're going to drag out all the stereotypes, all the talking points, and they are going to very subtly slap her.
But what's important is she's a huge threat. She is a huge threat to their ultimate plan of having autocratic rule over women's bodies and over our elections. Yeah. She is the thorn in their side, and they really are afraid of her. So I'd say we have to put a little bit of pressure, even more so, on them in the next coming days, but we're going to see a lot of rhetoric. You're absolutely right.
Because if she is confirmed, she will be, all three women on the court will be against the abortion laws.
Exactly.
Let me ask, if the Republicans really go hard on her during the nomination, okay, as they do, we haven't heard yet, but it sounds
when
like
they do.
Okay, all right. Could this have a backlash for the midterms?
Well, yeah, because the thing is, all of it is playing into the hands of, like, that's why they've all, if you've noticed, all they're pushing back now is, even Tucker Carlson Oldham, this is Joe Biden's fault. They wouldn't have invaded X, Y, and Z if Trump had been in the party. So what they're doing is, because for the most part, most Americans aren't going to take the time and initiative to really understand how this shit went down. So to be perfectly honest, they'll just take the easy soundbite, which is, yeah, it's Joe Biden's fault, blah, 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 and his son Hunter and that goddamn laptop. And, it's like, really? So that's the problem, that this will sway people to reward people with the Republicans. And see, that's why that whole thing of Africans being stuck and not being allowed to come out, and how evil and corrupt, Ukraine was, like we said, two things can exist at the same time. However, for the most part, it wasn't that corrupt, because they had a lot of Black students who do go to school there and get their medical degrees. Secondly, that was all Russian propaganda, and we're going to see more of it. because all they have to do with Black people in America is say somebody doesn't like you, and then everyone's like, well, I'm not going to vote anymore because fuck that man.
With
You know, and
Ketanji
it's just
Jackson,
like,
though, this is different.
and wait, Charlemagne will get a paycheck this week too. What you want to bet that Charlemagne the God won't be talking shit about this, and he'll be on board with the Republicans because they got his ass in a sling vice too, don't they?
The thing with the Ketanji Jackson,
isn't that how he got his radio station?
With this, it's
TV
like
show?
They're going to, if they don't confirm her, they run the risk of having Black women be really pissed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But here's the challenge: they are prepared for that. You know how? Because that's why they went behind and did all these state voting laws to prevent that. To prevent that kind of thing from happening. So it is quite possible that that will be the reaction. How it manifests itself, given the fact that the Republicans after 2020 went and changed voting rights, 34 states, that will be the challenge to overcome.
Sure.
Well, it'll be a very, very, very interesting time in regards to this, because I'm wondering how much backlash will happen. And again, what it's going to be another. These hearings are always interesting. They're never a dull moment. These hearings at all.
Here's the thing about it, though, that's so funny to me is that these people are going in this room like she's been a Black woman for a day, right? And has never experienced any of their stuff or heard any of this stuff hurled at her before and won't know how to handle it. Please. She's gonna be throwing back stuff the way that they don't expect, in such an intellectual way, right? That it will be embarrassing for them. So if they want to embarrass themselves starting Monday, go ahead.
She's ready.
Go for it. She's ready. Oh,
I'm sure she's ready.
Mm-hmm.
She's ready.
Yep. She's ready.
Well, folks, definitely another epic conversation as always that we had here. I don't know. I think depending on how this hearing goes, I think next week, we haven't done it for a while, and Ask Us Anything, it seems to be on board for next week. Ladies, what do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Sounds good.
First, it's the spring starts tomorrow. So we can start to have an Ask Us Anything to start off the springtime. So I think that, so everyone who's watching live on the replay or listening on the replay, ask us anything next week. Anything you want to ask us. We ain't always going to answer, but you can ask us anything. and we will make it happen. So it's always want to thank Jill and Aisha to make time in their wonderful Twitter and non-Twitter schedules to hang out with our Puss and Boots. Yes. Puss and what's Puss's name?
Ashley.
Hello, Ashley.
And she's annoyed because she's hungry and
all right. Well, it's good. We're ending at a good time. So what we're gonna do is, as always, Jill, how can people get a hold of you?
Jill D. Jones at Twitter. And then Jill Jones Music on Instagram.
Excellent. Aisha.
Aisha Staggers on Twitter.
Wonderful. And myself, if you want to get a hold of me, there are all the deets: website, email, Facebook, Instagram. I didn't put LinkedIn, but those things cover. If you just go to my website, you can contact me there. But all the details for everything is there. Want to say, got some more comments that came in here. Jen Myers goes, Ashley. And Jen says, fabulous conversation. Well, you made it happen again, Jen. So thank you so much. And she goes, loves the Ask Us Anything. Well, Jen, we're going to be ready for you. I know you're going to probably spend the week getting your questions all ready for all of us. We look forward to it. Want to say thanks to Jen, Cinnamon Canella, Blue Rains, and a few other people who watched the conversation live. If you can't catch us live, certainly catch us on the replay. And if you want to catch us on the replay, you can catch us here, replay-wise, the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook, and the Dr. Vibe website, the drvibeshow.com. As always, end off with this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And it's important to manage your time, but it's even more important to manage your energy. Look forward to seeing you live next Saturday, 26th of March. Ask us anything. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the world to ask us anything next week. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.